An Australian is among hundreds of people who have died on the annual Hajj pilgrimage to Mecca in Saudi Arabia. There are reports more than 900 people have died because of intense heat, with temperatures rising above 50 degrees Celsius. The Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade says it's providing consular assistance to the family of an Australian. Last year, Saudi officials say more than 2,000 people suffered from heat stress, and climate scientists fear that number will continue to grow each year as the world warms.
The people are very religiously motivated. They don't consider, because for some of them it is once in a lifetime affair. And some people, they save the money not to build their house, not to go for their insurance, but to perform Hajj. So they don't care whether it is during the summertime or during the winter time. You know, if they get a chance, they go for it. We need to prepare. We need to adapt. We need to introduce the adaptation option as much as we can, while realizing that it will compromise on the centuries-old ritual. But still, we need to save people.
Well, joining me in the studio is Dr. Milad Haghani, who serves as a senior lecturer at the School of Civil and Environmental Engineering at the University of New South Wales, Sydney. Milad, thank you very much for joining us this morning. What is your understanding of the situation at the Hajj and the reports of hundreds of pilgrims' death? I believe somewhere in the order of 900 people.
Yep, and some reports are indicating that it's increasing to 1,000 and exceeding that. It's an absolute tragedy, the loss of life of an Australian and all other pilgrims that have lost their lives in the tragedy. Of course, Hajj has seen many tragedies in the past before. We have had the case of 2015, for example, crowd accident, crowd crush, which resulted in the death of 2,400 pilgrims and more, and many incidents of this nature. But what we are observing in the recent years is that, given the fact that the Hajj pilgrimage takes place at different times of the year each year, we are seeing that it has fallen right in the middle of summer in Mecca, and that can create a very harsh condition in terms of climate for many people who do this spiritual journey.
So is it just the heat that makes this pilgrimage so risky, or are there other factors as well?
There are other contributing factors. The whole ritual itself involves physical activities, walking between 2 points, for example, 7 times and coming back. It can amount to more than 4 or 5 kilometers of walking. There is a lot of devotion and passion involved. People usually wait for a very long time to do this journey, and when they get a chance to do it, they do it with a lot of emotion and passion, and they can overextend themselves essentially. And while doing that, if they have some underlying health issues and under such unfavorable climate, these kind of physical activities, intense walking and other physical activities, that could be creating additional elements of risk.
What is your understanding of the reports that many of these deaths are from those pilgrims that weren't formally registered?
Yes, I've heard the anecdotal evidence. Obviously, it is always advised that people have proper registrations, because Saudi Arabia has made provisions for the pilgrims in terms of the cooling facilities and places to rest, but sometimes they are denied if they are not fully registered, so that can be a risk.
What is in place? Because in 2016, Saudi Arabia published a heat strategy, which included a number of things such as constructing shaded areas, the plantation of trees. What is currently in place, and what do you think should perhaps be put in place in addition to what is there to mitigate these risks?
There is a range of provisions. For example, you can see even outdoor spaces has been equipped with misting showers. For example, cooling systems, the area around the big mosque, it has a cooling system even in the outdoors area, for example, and the provision of water and everything. But apparently, given the scale of the event, the sheer scale of the event makes these provisions still inadequate. I don't know what exactly can be done for the future events, but I think given the fact that many of the pilgrims are of advanced age, and if they are from a foreign country that is not that does not necessarily have this kind of climate, they are 4.5 times likelier to die as a result of heat exhaustion. A study has shown that. I think some provisions has to be in place in order to monitor the health of people, such as health monitoring bracelets, how they can be deployed at such mass scale would be a challenge for Saudi Arabia, but I think that would facilitate health emergency responses if they can monitor closely individuals.
Some people listening might just say, well, just move it to a different time, but it's not as easy as that, is it? Because it relies around the lunar calendar, is that right?
Absolutely. If it was any concert or any other type of mass gatherings, you would have cancelled, you would have rescheduled, you would have taken it to another location. None of these things is an option with Hajj, and the timing is dictated by the lunar calendar. It just happens that it is in the heat of the summer at the moment, and it's going to be the same for the next couple of years to come. And we are seeing that the rate of temperature increase and rise in the Middle East is actually 50% faster than any other area in the Northern Hemisphere. So I think Saudi Arabia is going to be taking a bigger brunt of these climatic changes, and that's going to create a big risk factor.
Well, given the forecast with heat and climate issues that you just mentioned there, why is it that millions still go to attend this pilgrimage? What makes it so special and so important to be a part of in light of these risks?
It's a big aspect of Islam, and Islam has 5 main pillars, and one of them is Hajj. And they say that your religion is not complete unless you have done the Hajj. So many people might have saved for this trip, for this spiritual journey, and many get to do it when they are at an older age. And that is always a risk factor for the kind of activities that they need to do during the Hajj. But again, once they are there, they sometimes just focus on the spiritual journey, and they do it with a lot of devotion and passion. And if there are some underlying health issues, that can be exacerbated as a result.